How's everybody doing tonight? We got something new today. It's something like we haven't done before, and it's also from a company we haven't worked with before. It's the company is Wood Trick, and the model is Dragon Castle. This is a Ukrainian company, similar to U-Gears, and similar to U-Gears, this will have gears that function. I think it has like a drawer bridge that opens and several other things. In fact, I think you push on this and the drawer bridge opens. It's 978 pieces. In addition to that, it's 8 pounds. It's actually 8.5 pounds. This is a huge puzzle. I don't know if it's clear how big this thing is. I mean, you're only seeing half of the box there. You're still not seeing all of the box. I think I have to go to camera 2 to even fit it. Okay, it can just barely fit on the available space. Which is smaller than the last puzzle we did, because we did the Roker 3D pinball before this. And the box was even bigger. Although this box is heavier, and it says 978 pieces. Roker said 482 pieces, and then it ended up being 998 pieces. So, like, poor form on both these guys. Like, how do you stop at 978 pieces and 998 pieces? I mean, how do you not go to 1,000? Is it like, are their templates not set up? Anyway. I'm very interested to do this puzzle. One of the reasons it's so heavy, they made a big deal about this on their website, is that it says it's made from natural wood, and they actually show the wood. I think it's still going to be, what is that type of wood? It escapes my mind at the moment. But you know, that like pressed wood that comes in layers, escapes my mind at the moment. It's the term for it, but I think it's going to be that same type of wood. It looks pretty good, but I don't see grain. No, I do see grains on it. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Before we even get started, let's take a look here. It actually looked pretty good on the back here in terms of like selling the model. You know what? Let's take the plastic off first, just so it's not going to be as like reflective. Without the plastic, it won't reflect so much. It'll be a little bit easier to look at. I also think I'm not going to pick it up. I think I'm going to use the close-up camera and kind of line it up with whatever I want to read, just so I'm not like picking up and balancing this 8-pound box. So it says, these walls have a history. Some of the most beautiful architectural monuments of feudal lords that... Sorry, let's do this again. Some of the most beautiful architectural monuments of history that have survived to this day are medieval castles. Feudal lords built these constructions to protect themselves from possible wars. Castles had a severe system of fortifications, and the ancient masters laid the walls strong and almost indestructible. So castles occupied a winning position on the battlefield. We at Wood Trick have decided to create our own wooden model of Dragon Castle, so you can feel the spirit of medieval castles and even be its builder for a while. I think that's a pretty good description there. Functions of medieval castle: military, defended their owners and citizens from attacks of foreign armies. Administrative, political, the castles usually served as administrative centers of surrounding territories. Habitable, the nobility and landowners lived in the castle, and sometimes in large castles other residents lived. And now I think This 1869 might be telling us about the castle that this is modeled after. I mean, they don't show a picture of it, but maybe there's a real castle. We could maybe search for it. In 1869 began the construction of one of the most beautiful castles in the world, Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. Sounds like we're going to play like Wolfenstein or something. It has many secrets and incredible features. Although this castle does not belong to the Middle Ages, it has all the stylistic elements of a medieval castle. Nevertheless, the castle is considered one of the most colorful in Europe. The first castles, the prototype of medieval castles, could be considered fortifications of Assyria, dated to the 8th and 9th centuries BC. I'm sorry, the 8th and 7th centuries BC. I forgot they count BC backwards, as well as Roman buildings, which were also often well fortified and had a monumental structure. So, is this that Neuschwanstein, or what did they call that castle? Neuschwanstein? Okay, anyway, I was going to go over here for a minute just to show you one of the great things about Wood Trick, and oh, by the way, there's the code right there. That's good. So that's another good thing, because I was going to say they're from Ukraine, similar to U-Gears, and Ukraine always puts, not Ukraine, Ukraine and Wood Trick, sorry, U-Gears and Wood Trick are both from Ukraine, and U-Gears always puts a copy of the instructions in PDF. And Wood Trick has done the same. And they actually kind of look the same. I wonder if there's some workers who went, back and forth to both. I think, are these actual photos of the pieces of wood? They might be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. They might be. You would assume that with computer-aided design, they have the 3D model pieces. I mean, when I was doing the electromagnet board game, we were using the 3D model design pieces in the picture, so it's like I find it hard to believe that they're using actual photography, but maybe they are. And the reason I'm saying that is because it shows the wood textures, and because it doesn't look that great. Like, I feel like when you use the 3D models, they look like kind of perfect. There's probably a way to tell, like these two circles, will they have the same patterns? If they do, then it's 3D models. They have different patterns, which indicates that we're looking at photography. Although I suppose they could just re-hit the texture button for each item, and therefore they won't be identical. Who knows? I'm not sure if we're looking at photography or 3D model, which is probably a good sign. But I went to this tablet not to show you the instructions. As cool as they are, I went to look up the Neuschwanstein, whatever it was called. What was that thing called? Neuschwanstein? What? We need to look it up, so we need to know. Neuschwanstein. All right, so this model is huge. I can barely flip it over without hitting the cameras. Anyway, that's what it looks like. It's kind of like too big for the close-up, so I'll just leave it here. This is what it looks like. And now we're going to look up the Neuschwanstein Castle, if I'm even saying that correct. And we're going to see if it looks anything like what's on the cover of this box here. You know what? I think it was showing the castle. Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany. All right, so let's go to the images here. Yeah, this looks... Do you think this looks anything like it? Neuschwanstein Castle. I mean, it kind of depends on what angle they're showing us. What do you think? I would say like vaguely inspired by this castle. I mean, it doesn't even have this like feature here. You see this like balcony here over the drawbridge? Maybe we're not seeing the right angle of this Neuschwanstein castle. Let's see if we can get another angle. Is this the same castle? Yeah, I mean, these are totally different castles. I don't know why they brought that up. I'm not seeing these as really being the same. Let's take their word for it. There must be something about it that's like the same. Maybe we just haven't found the correct angle yet. Actually, this one is good. There's two different structures. So it looks like maybe it's this secondary structure that looks more like what they're giving us. And I still think there might be, if you look in the back there, there's like the square structure, the one with several pillars. And then there's one in the back in like brick color. God bless you. And that might be, maybe we need to get an angle of that. All right, here we go. Here's the angle. There's the drawbridge. There's the pillars. You know what? I think it's kind of artist rendering. Yes, I do see the balcony. I do see the drawbridge. I do see the pillars. But then there's a bunch of other stuff that's not there. And then some other parts are kind of like moved around. I should do a split screen just to show you them both at once. So just take me a second. Sorry, I don't have like secondary producer here. It's just me. All right, so there's the live picture. There's the castle. And there's the sort of default half and half screen. So there it is. So on the right is the castle in real life. And on the left is what they've given us. And I think they've taken the elements. So we've got those two shorter pillars in the front. We've got the drawbridge. We've got the balcony. That's all good. But then the back is, it's obviously condensed. We do have that big tower with the flag. But there's a bunch of other stuff that's like removed and gone. And then actually all the way on the right, you can see there's a square platform. So that matches what's in the middle on the model. And then in the back, that's the dragon. I'm not sure we can find an exact match for that in the photography. And the reason I say that is because the tall pillar is obviously what they're not referencing, but the tall pillar has the flag in both the photography and the model, but on the model, the flag tower looks like the one on the right. It has the square, it has the size and shape. It doesn't look like the tall one. And then in the back, the dragon, that looks like the one on the left, but they took the spire off and replaced it with a dragon. So, yes, I can see it. It's a condensed and slightly modified version, but I can see how this Neuschwanstein castle could have created this model. I'm not sure you really would care about my opinion. I think what you probably care about more is that we get started building this thing. So what do we do first? Do we open the box or do we look through? I think we open the box first. Let's see what's going on here. And then we'll dive into the instructions. I can't even lift. Of course I can lift 8.5 pounds, but it's a little awkward for a model. It's a little awkward to flip it when it's as tall as the table. I don't know if I can give you the look back here. Wait, something went wrong. Oh, no, here it is. So, like if I lift this up, it almost hits, that's the teleprompter screen, and the lighting is right there, and the camera is right there. Like I can barely get this. If I go back like to camera 1 now, it's like blocking up the whole screen. And if I go to the close-up camera, I mean, it's not even functional at this point. It's like too close. Anyway, I'm going to do the best I can to get you shots of what's going on. But it's a big puzzle, and I might rearrange the cameras for tomorrow. I broke the cardboard. It was like triple pinned in there, and that was, you know, I wasn't expecting that. I ripped the cardboard. Wow, these are huge pieces. Oh my goodness. They're huge pieces, and there's a lot of them. And I'll tell you, they smell very strongly of wood. They weren't kidding about these being like wood pieces. How many pieces are there? Like, a lot, right? I can't even count that. Like, it's not easy. It's like, I would say a dozen plus pieces, probably. And here's the book. So this is what we're looking at when we go to the PDF over here. How many pages is the PDF? I don't know how to get that to show up, other than going to the end of it and seeing what the page number is. All right, 56. It said 17 of 56 on the screen for a second, but as you can see from the camera, they're huge pages. The pictures are big, but they're not like... Basically, there's a lot going on here. Like, looking at this first page, there's really like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's really 10 segments. The pieces are... They've got numbers, and they come from these sheets. So this is very similar to U-Gears. So we've got the color glossy paper, and it's even got the same blue background. And it's got the same way of identifying the pieces. It shows you the number of the sheet. This one has sheets 4 and 5. I don't know if I can get that on camera. Oh, no, sheets 4 and 3. Sorry. sheets 4 and 3. And then they show you like where those pieces are on those sheets. And they're huge, as I said. I mean, look at this piece of paper. What is this? I could get out a ruler and measure it, but I can just roughly tell you it's about a square foot. Like if you were looking at a 12 inch by 12 inch square foot, like tile, like you're putting some sticky linoleum tiles in your basement, that's about the size of this, if not bigger. Wow, look at that. There's a lot of gears there. I mean, we were talking about how many gears we're going to be dealing with. I mean, we're on, what page is this? Like page 4? We're on page 4, and look at all those gears we're building. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a gear-driven. What is this going on? Is that plastic? Is that plastic or wood? It looks something. Is that a motor? Have they given us like one of those little Lego or erector set motors? I don't know. I guess we can look around here because we're only on page 4. The motor's already there. Is the motor attached to that piece of wood? No. The motor's attached on page 1. Literally the first thing we do. Or maybe it's the 4th thing, but on the very first page we're going to attach... Is that a motor? What is that? I guess the next thing we need to do is open up the plastic here and see what's inside, because we'll just find out if there's a motor in there or not. It's got a crank on it. The crank seems to move things. I mean, I'm calling that a motor. Let's see. Let's see what it is. We got to open the plastic next. So we're going to use the PDF. We're not even going to use this. And I don't know how far we're going to get beyond opening the box today. Can't really promise that we're going to get much built today. I mean, we opened the box. We talked about the company. Maybe we're going to get through a page or 2 of the instructions, but I'm not promising that. I guess we want to get at least 2 pages, because the pinball took 28 days. And this puzzle is 56 pages, so if we do 2 pages a day, we're looking at another 28 days. I would rather it not take 28 days, But we only can do so much. We can't. I can't promise you it won't take 28 days. I can't promise you it won't take 56 days. It might. Well, whatever it takes, and we're going to do the job. It's the first time I'm working with a puzzle from Wood Trick, and I have to thank them. I doubt I don't know who to give credit to. They have an Ohio distributor. So I'm assuming that's who gave me this, not anyone in Ukraine. I think they're busy with other things in Ukraine right now, but I don't know. Thanks to whoever got me this puzzle, and I'll try to do my best with it. All right, so here's the boards. Huge, huge boards. So, yeah, I mean, they look like plywood to me. They said natural wood. I don't know. Does this look like plywood to you, or what does this look like? It looks like 3 layers. It doesn't look like corkboard. It definitely smells very strongly of wood. Anyway, let's see how many of these we're dealing with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the way, they all have blue stamps in the corner, like they're inspected or something. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So my estimate of a dozen plus was wrong. There's only 11 sheets, but they are very big sheets, and they're very heavy when you add them up. They're very thick. I counted it a second time and got 12. Let's try count it a third time. All right, 6, 9, yeah. All right, there's 11 sheets. I don't know why I miscounted one of the times. I did, though. So there's 11 sheets. All right, so the next thing we need to do is, I guess, get to work here. Let's take a look at the instructions and see what's going on. All right, page 1 is just a picture. It's a level 5 puzzle. So their system goes basically from 2 to 5. They have no 1s. But I wouldn't call it a 4. I think what they mean is that none of their puzzles are going to be done in 30 minutes. They're all complex, and on their current rating system, this is the most complex. There's a key. I think we saw that. The key is right there on the very first sheet. I don't think they're telling us to take the key out just yet. Auxiliary tool for assembly or measuring distances. Yeah, okay. So there's a key. There's going to be toothpicks. Well, potentially. This might be a key, rubber band, toothpicks. Break off both sides. That's just a regular piece. Like clean the piece, wax the gear, part must rotate. Remove burrs, that's sanding. Assemble in mirror reflection. So basically this is a key of what we're going to see. Now this could be a cut and paste that they use on all of their models. So we don't necessarily going to have to do all these things. But so that first symbol's cut a toothpick, break off from both sides, elastic band, twist it in half. Part must rotate freely. I believe that's wax, but also testing. Remove burrs, that's sanding. Assemble in mirror reflection. Those are sometimes difficult. Note. So, U-Gears and Roker, their note is a red exclamation point. It looks like these guys, Wood Trick, have a white exclamation point. Possibly with a red circle around it, though honestly it looks like it's a white on white, which is going to be it's not as noticeable as red, but let's keep an eye out for it. Caution, fragile detail, so they're going to tell us when we're in danger of breaking a piece. Lubricate with paraffin. So there should be wax in here somewhere. Assembly is completed. Okay, when we see a thumbs up, we're done. All right, that's nice to know. I can't wait to see the first thumbs up. Warning, for the correct operation of this model, it is necessary to clean carefully and to lubricate all rubbing parts with paraffin during assembly. All mechanisms must rotate freely. Yeah, we have to be on top of that, because there's nothing more frustrating than when you've built the whole thing and there's some gear you did on day one that doesn't turn. Speaking of day one, they want us to start here. 2 pieces. Pieces 134 and 136. Now, let's get our scoreboard in order. So, this is page 2. So, what does that mean? They didn't count the cover? They didn't count the cover. So, it's probably page 3 in terms of the PDF. But I'm going to use the numbers that they have on the puzzle, on the instruction manual. So we're up to page 2. And the first segment of the instructions has 2 pieces, 134 and 136. And then there's a little arrow there showing us where to go. The arrow wasn't in the key, but I mean, I think we follow the arrow. I don't think anyone needs to put that in the key. We know that needs to happen. So 2 pieces, page 2, 2 pieces. What we don't know yet is what board these are coming from. So we got to go down here and take a look. It's either board 3 or board 4. Just based on the look of it, I would say it's board 3. This obviously is not a very detailed PDF. I got this from their website. If I scanned it myself, if you remember, I scanned the Roker pinball myself, and it was like, I don't know, 200 megabytes or something like that. But then the version that would open quickly, like from the web, while I was working with it, was more like 5 megabytes. And even that looked better than this, you know? So I don't know what size this file is. I probably could look and get back to you. But I don't want to exit it just to look that up. I don't know. Let's see. Will this information tell me? No, that's typing. Now it's gone. So I don't even know. That was a search. What was that? I'm just trying to look comments. What is this? What? I just want to find the file size. Where's the properties? Yeah, I don't know what this stuff is. Do anyone see properties? Manage, access, share, make available offline, copy link, rename. Yeah, I don't see properties. It's not that important. We're moving on. All right. So either page 3 or page 4 has the first 2 pieces, 134 and 136. All right. 28 minutes in, and we're about to get started. By the way, on the Roker 3D Pinball, we started at like 41 minutes in. So we're ahead of that schedule. I can see the pieces already. I don't even have to pull the sheet out. I see 136 right here, and 134 is right next to it. Sorry, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. And you're still not. Actually, I can maybe slide it over, and you will. No, it's not gonna happen. And that's not close enough. So I'll tell you that 136 is here and 134 is here. I'm going to see if I can pull this close-up camera back a little bit. Yeah, so now you can see them. You basically couldn't see them because these sheets are like a foot long or a foot plus, and there's a backboard on the desk. I mean, it's just a little silly backboard. You can see it there, but regardless, there's a backboard. So I couldn't push it forward, so I moved the camera back. All right, now it's time to get started. We don't need this. What we do need is either to pop out their tool or to grab my own, which I'll just grab my own. They have a key I showed you before, but I'm just going to use my own. So 136. It wasn't super easy to pop out. Wow. So, can you see that? That's one of the biggest splinters. I was saying it wasn't super easy to pop out. I hope I didn't get a defective sheet. And we haven't even found the sandpaper yet. All right, let's go through these sheets again. Did they flake as well? Or hopefully that's just another splinter. Yeah, it's another splinter, but wow, I was worried that we flaked the first piece. We definitely got a couple splinters. All right, not a great sign. Let's try to get 134 out. You know what? Let's use their tool. Since my tool didn't work, maybe theirs will work. It's just impossible. I feel like they didn't cut this board all the way through. Actually, those are two different boards. The key came from a different board, but look, another splinter on the key. And we haven't even found the sandpaper yet. I'm just going to grab one from the last puzzle that I did. All right, I just grabbed wax and sandpaper from the prior puzzle so we don't have to look through the sheet right now. All right. Let's try again to get 134 out without breaking the whole thing. Maybe the pin in front. This board is not cut all the way through. Board 3 is just like, these pieces aren't coming out. Again, splinters. I mean, are we going to have splinters on every piece that comes out of board 3? I guess we are. Have your sandpaper ready. All right. Let's go through these sheets again to see if we see that motor. Remember that motor? And also to see if there's sandpaper and wax or paraffin. All right, there's the motor. Not only is there a motor, there's balls. Just like in the 3D pinball that we did, that we finished, a couple of days ago. Amazing. So we didn't have a puzzle with a ball in it the whole time I've been doing this show, and now we got 2 in a row. I'm not sure I can fit this sheet back on. Gotta line those up correctly. Look at that. Huge piece fell out. I caught it, by the way. It hit my legs and I caught it. But there it is. So those little pieces I couldn't get out. But the big piece fell right out without effort. All right. There's the big piece. Wow. Not off to a tremendous start. I think I'm going to put this here because if I do the work over the sheets, you're not going to see it. If I do it like this, it's going to have a glare. All right, here's what we have to do. Slide the sheets over. They're huge sheets. And now look what they left on our board. A lot of splinters. Get used to it. It's not going to go away anytime soon. And those boards are about as far as they're going to go. All right, let's stop complaining and get to work. All right, so hold 134 this way. I think it's the same either way. All right. And then 136 goes into it. I'm getting all the splinters off of these pieces because there's a lot of splinters. So it doesn't go across the gap. It goes towards, like, it covers this piece that already has whatever you want to call it. It goes a direction that has a tab. All right, we've completed a single piece. We've done something. All right, next up. Pieces. Oh, by the way, there's a caution on the next one. So it actually turns out to be a black exclamation point and a red circle. And there's gears to wax. One gear, it looks like. So we're going to use the piece we already built. And then we also need pieces 133, 137, and 138. Those should come from that same board that we were just, board 3. I would think, right? So 133, 137, and 138. Let's get this board on top. 133. 137, 138. All right, so all the pieces are right there. 3 more pieces. We're up to 5 pieces. I mean, 5 pieces. Doesn't mean much right now, but those numbers will add up soon enough. All right. Man, this board 3 is really holding on to the pieces. These are the biggest splinters I've ever seen. Meanwhile, one of the other boards, the piece fell right out of. My board 3 was not cut all the way through, obviously. Hopefully yours was, but mine wasn't. So I got to do a lot of sanding. Okay. And it's a gear, so I really cannot have splinters on a gear. In fact, I need to wax it as well. Oh, when we were looking through those sheets, we found the motor, but we didn't find the wax that they gave us. I don't know if I mean, I'm sure the wax I'm using is good enough, but I wonder if they gave us wax. They probably did. All right, so there's 133, the piece we already built. We still need 137 and 138. 137 has this little, like, triangle in it. The little triangle, that's what the note is about. It's like, make sure you get the little triangle correct. Maybe I gotta push it from the other side because this is clearly not coming out from this side. All right, that's a little better. If you're getting splinters, push from the other side. All right, let's do the same with 138. Push from the non-numbered side. Is the other side numbered? It's numbered from both sides, but push from the side with the numbers backwards. If you're having the same problem as me, huge splinters. All right, this is a round piece, so it also needs to be waxed, or just look at the instructions. It says to wax 133 and 138. But that's also kind of a common, like, thing. Like, when you have a round piece or a gear piece, you usually have to wax it and like sand it and wax it, because if it's a round piece or a gear piece, it's gonna it's going to move. It's going to expect it to move, either in a gear or like spinning in a socket if it's a circle. So it needs to be totally waxed up. Okay. Same thing for the gear. Oh, we already waxed the gear. Okay, so let's just check for splinters on this piece. Kind of looks like a wrestling belt, like a WWE type of wrestling belt. All right, so the caution says, I think that's a triangle pointing upward. It has to be, right? Yeah. There's no other way to do it. All right, so the triangle pointing upward. And then, all right, let's lay out the pieces. So there's the piece we already built. There's 138, 137, and 133. So there's a shape on 138 and 133, and it matches the shape on the piece we built. And then 138 goes directly into that circle. So should be pretty easy, right? It's not going on all the way. Is it supposed to go on all the way? I cannot break the first piece of the puzzle. What we can do is advance the instructions a little bit and see what it looks like after it's built. All right, so I think there it is. Yeah, it's got to go. Absolutely. It's got to go all the way on. So this circle has to go all the way on this piece. And it didn't. On first attempt, it didn't. Will this key fit in the middle? Kind of. I'm going to put the key as a backing. And I'm going to push the circle on. I don't want to break the piece. I've had that happen before where you try to force a piece on and you end up breaking it. Like it'll split right in half. I don't want that to happen. Or this puzzle's not going to work. The gears aren't going to work. Can usually make it look like whatever it's supposed to look like, but to make the gears work, you can't break pieces. You got to wax all the pieces, and you got to sand all the pieces. So, like, there's a video of the guy from the company doing this in like 6.5 hours. But he's not popping the pieces out. It's like, I don't know, someone's prepping the pieces for him and he's just got to snap them together. So I don't think it's a fair fight to try to match him. Anyway, the arrow goes on the bottom. We put this circle in there. So, you know, we waxed it so it should move. I feel like it could move smoother. I'm going to wax the inside of this circle as well. They don't say to, but they don't say not to. So I'm going to do that. All right, let's see if it turns any better now. Yep, definitely turns smoother now. All right, so now we got to get this guy on the end, the gear. So it's going to be the same situation. We got to push it all the way down. So I'll use the key as a backing. I'll push the gear on. I'm glad that I waxed both faces of the gear because you see, I don't know, it doesn't say not to wax the face. I'm not sure if it's clear that it says to. Like, it shows the wax going into the gears. You know, like the wax in the gear, but I think you also have to wax the faces of the gear because it's going to be turning, like the wood is going to rest on this other wood. So it's going to move smoother if the face is waxed. I think that's just a thing. And now the other question is like, how much do you push it in? It's going to have to turn this gear at some point. But it doesn't have to be super duper precise. I mean, you want to get it precise, but this has a length to it. I don't know if it's 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, but it has some length to it. So even if it's like a micron off the gear it's connecting to, it's still going to work. I mean, try to do it perfect if you can, but there's a little, forgiveness in there. All right, so that was actually only half of this segment. We still need piece 135, which for some reason I didn't count earlier. So now we're up to 6 pieces, because we also need to add piece 135 to the back. And 135 is right there, luckily. I mean, they're all kind of together. I like that they put them together. I actually, if it's going to be like this, like some of the other puzzle makers will try to put the pieces where they fit rather than together with the pieces that you're going to work with. Like this one, if you can see here. Now, the bad part is that I popped out 2 segments. So that's not great. I'll just put one of them aside. But the great part is they come in little segments. You can pop out the whole segment if it's going to continue like this. I don't know if it will. But if it does, it's great, because it means like you're going to build something. You don't got to constantly hunt for the pieces. You pop out the segment, which is a mini board. So it kind of wastes wood compared to like having a computer determine where to fit all the pieces, but it saves time for the builder. It saves time for you. I don't know. Do you enjoy hunting for pieces, or would you rather they all be in these little mini boards that pop out? So that's now done. Like, I can throw that out, or I can save it for fun. But whatever. The point is, I'm done with it. Is anyone a fan of the Wu-Tang Clan? I don't know. Does that look more like the Viewmaster toy from the 1970s, or like the Wu-Tang Clan logo? I don't know. Wu-Tang is from Staten Island, where I'm from, so maybe not everyone is as familiar with them. One of the streaming channels has a documentary series on the Wu-Tang Clan, but I don't remember which one it is. Anyway, let's get this logo onto this segment. It's not a logo, actually. It's a piece, but I don't know. Piece that looks like a logo. And it's got to go all the way on, probably because it's also going to connect to something else next. All right. That's pretty good. So we built something. I don't know. We built something. I mean, something better than nothing, right? All right. And there's the next arrow. And the next arrow goes to a new construction, which involves pieces 149 and 130. Now, remember that board that we popped out? 139 and 140, right? 3 pieces. So we popped this board out before, like by accident, because it was right next to the board we were working on. And look at the pieces, 139 and 2 140s. This is looking like very convenient. We're not going to spend like half our time looking for pieces, hopefully. Looks like they're going to just come, in order together with the ones they need to connect to. All right, so 139, 2 140s. Pop them out, put them together. And also, when you have them out in these little segments, they become these little mini boards. They become easier to pop them out, like just flip it around and pop them out from the other side. Yeah, I'm definitely so far liking the way they deliver the pieces to you. It's almost like we've got that assistant popping out and sanding and waxing the pieces for us. I mean, we don't. but at least they've got the pieces all together and you're not spending a lot of time like hunting and pecking for them. All right. Now let's check this, if it needs to be sanded. Ooh, sanding, the emery board fits right in there. Nice. You know, if you sand them too much, they won't have the friction to hold together. So don't go too crazy with the sanding. There's an art to it. If it's a moving piece, then go crazy with the sanding. But if it's a piece that's held together by friction, the sanding can be a bad thing. You gotta know what you're doing. All right, this piece doesn't have ink, so I don't think we have to worry about keeping the ink side out because there is no ink. Sorry, just there's a bad splinter on a round piece, and we know that round pieces have often the ability to move, so have movement around them. So I don't want splinters on round segments, so that's why I keep doing this. All right, now we got to put the 140s in. It's a symmetrical piece with no ink, so you can put it in either way. It's a bilateral symmetry, but not up and down. So it almost looks like the plunger, like a vaccine, you know, but so this little needle part, that goes on bottom into this board, and then the little T part goes at top. So, like this. That's how it goes in. And I guess it goes right up to the first set of the T. When you have a cross with a double T, it's called the cross of Lorraine, but the lines are usually closer together, not so far apart. This thing stopped going in, but I think it's supposed to go in, right? Let's see what it looks like when built. Yes. Yes, it's definitely supposed to go all the way in. So it needs to go in, whether it wants to or not. That thing is really stuck. Often putting the tool on the support end creates more leverage, but that thing is not moving. I could try to push it down, but then I'm risking breaking this piece here. But I don't think I have much choice. It's not going. It needs to go. Wow. It's still not fully in. There's still a little space there. But did you hear the sounds it was making? That thing was not going in without a fight. All right. All right, it's in. Let's see how the other one goes. If we're in for the same problem. And I was worried that if you sanded it too much, it wouldn't have friction. Good luck even getting this piece in. It's got plenty of not only friction, but compression. Ooh, I almost broke this piece. I felt it twisting. All right, let's try to be a little more careful. You know, maybe I should put it like, you see how this has this little thing? I might have just got a splinter there. All right, see how it has this little tab at the bottom? I'm going to put that between two pieces of wood, and then I'm going to push on it. That was kind of working, but I don't know. I didn't like that this piece was pushing in as well, so I'm going to go back to this style. Or was it this style? Yeah, it was this style. Not there yet. All right, let's try again. It's on. Dang. It's on, but not easy. All right, so we've built 2 pieces so far. That's all we've done. All right. The next arrow. This is tricky. There's an arrow going down, but there's a line. It's an arrow going down, but there's a line going here. So basically, it's like the arrow going down says, like, build this. Then after those 2 things are built, it's like, put those 2 together. So it's kind of like the arrow comes first, and then the line includes a backtrack. It's not totally clear, honestly. Like, even the previous thing we built has a line coming out going to the gear. Remember that gear that we found? That engine, motor? So we're going to have to get back to that at some point. Anyway, we're following the arrows, and we'll get to that part when we get to it. So right now we need to build using 116, 141, 142, and a second 116. And what do we have here? 141, 2 116s, and a 142. So we have exactly what we need. So those are the 4 pieces. And by the way, 3 of them need to be waxed. Only the cross doesn't need to be waxed, but the 2 circles and the gear need to be waxed. Does that gear look like it's going to accept toothpicks at some point? It might. It's got a lot of holes that look like they would accept toothpicks. Anyway, that's 4 pieces. That brings us up to 13 pieces total. Was that a little... Oh, it looked almost like a... That piece looks almost like a dragon. I think it's just a gear, but kind of 132 kind of looks like a dragon. I just mentioned because we're doing a dragon castle. Alright, so let's get these boards out. Let's push from the back. That seems to be the way to go. Alright. So what did you think? Did it look like that new Schwanstein castle? It looked something. I mean, you could see it was inspired by it. But, you know, maybe if you checked every castle in the world, you'd find one that looked even more like the one that we're building, even though it's based on the new Schwanstein, because there were significant modifications. I mean, really, they were like movements, selections of what to include, and movements of where to place it. But that could have easily ended up looking like some other castle that really exists. But I get why they would start with something that inspires them, even if they end up with something, you know, that looks like something else. Like, I could totally get that. Did you see that huge splinter? Oh, I'm off camera. Okay, there was a huge splinter. Flew off this gear. You might have seen it fly by, even if you didn't see me doing the actual splintering. So now we need to wax up these gears like completely, which makes my table a mess, because the wax falls onto the table in chunks. I'm going to wax not only the circle, but the faces. That's going to come in handy. That's not something I've done on previous puzzles, but I've had a problem on previous puzzles with things not turning. So now I've gotten into waxing the faces. Let's see if that works. And then you've got to wax every gear, both sides of every gear. And then you've got to wax both faces of the gear. And as I'm doing this, it's throwing a ton of wax on my table. I suppose I could like put that back onto the ball of wax at the end. If you were working with a tea candle, you definitely could do that. Not going to be so easy. I mean, look at how much I'm like wasting. Maybe I can salvage it. Put it into, as I said, a candle. All right. Let's start putting this together. Enough like fooling around. So the cross goes through the gear. I believe it's reversible. There's 2 lines on the gear. Do you see those 2 lines? They're showing that the arms on the cross line up with the lines on the gear. That's what it shows in the picture. So that's what I'm doing. All right, and then top and bottom go the 2 circles. And everything is waxed. Chopped both pieces. Give me a second. The bigger piece rolled. I'm going to need a flashlight to find it. Give me a second. Wow, it's really under there. All right, I'll be back in a minute. All right. I think I should re-wax this. I just hit the microphone, by the way. All right, how badly is this? Was this damaged? Oh, I didn't get the circle on yet. I definitely need to re-wax. Okay. All right, that's in. So we've built these 3 little things. We need to do something with these things. Namely, we need to attach them to this huge thing, which is piece 174. We also have to attach the motor, which is weird because there's no part in the instructions where that motor is introduced. Like, it doesn't even have a number. Like, I don't... Do you see one? Like, I don't see. It looks to me like those 3 pieces go into that big board and then put the motor in too. All right, so I'm going to increment the piece counter by 2. And that's going to be for the motor and for 174. 174 might have been that piece that dropped out. Do you remember when we were just like counting the sheets? Look, there's another piece dropping out. When we were counting the sheets, there was this huge piece that dropped out. Yeah, it was. It was 174. So that huge piece that dropped out was 174. Here it is. I mean, we'll check it if it needs to be waxed or whatever. And I believe a little bit beneath that, try to get it on camera. Remember those ball bearings? Look what's right next to them. I don't know if they're ball bearings or if they're going to be pinballs. You know, if they're going to be like, I don't know if it's going to be a marble run or if they're going to be ball bearings in a gear. I suppose they're pretty big for ball bearings in a gear. So probably there's going to be some marble run action in this puzzle. All right, so I'm popping out the, I'll try to get that on camera. I'm popping out the gear. It's not coming out. So I think maybe it's like trapped in here. Maybe I need to lift up some more boards, but then those go flying. All right, let's get those balls back in their little houses. I missed. All right, there they are. It really takes 3 sheets because there's another sheet that goes on top. All right, now the balls are secure. But we still didn't get this motor out. Probably the worst thing. Probably the toughest thing. I think this sheet also went on top of those balls. I probably should find that location and put it back. Yeah, it definitely did. Alright, we still didn't get this gear out. There we go, the gear is out. And look, there's a screwdriver. I guess that's the paraffin. Remember the paraffin they were talking about? What is going on here? We're going to take a look at this stuff in a second. So we found some goodies in here. Alright, let's put this all back together and we'll check out the goodies. Okay. Alright. So here's the it's a motor, right? Or is it music? I think it's music. Let's see. Does that look like a tiny musical instrument? And does that look like a tiny player piano? This is maybe gonna stick out of the castle and it's gonna play music. You can see that gear operates. It's playing music. I don't know if you can hear it. You probably know that song. So it's not a it's not a motor. It's a player piano. All right, let me get it right up to the microphone. I can like almost remember the words. What are the words to this song? I can't. I know them. I just can't remember them at this moment. All right, one more time. Well, it's pretty cool. I gotta say, that's unique. I've had puzzles that play music before, but I have not before had a puzzle with a little player piano on it. That is very cool. All right, so this obviously is sort of hardwired. It's got that spool in there. The real player piano would have cards, and there would be hooks or hammers behind, and if there was a hole in the card, then the hammer would drop. So you could replace the card. You didn't have to like completely reconfigure it. You could use just basically paper or cardboard or wood. I mean, I'm not a super expert on player pianos, but all right. So what do we got here? Some wire, some string. Is that the paraffin? No, I think, is that electronics? I'm not sure what this is. Not sure. It's something. There's the paraffin. So the paraffin is just wax. So don't worry about that. We can use our existing wax. Now, what in the hell is this? We'll find out when it shows up in the instructions. It's got 4 screws, I'll tell you that. It takes 4 screws to install this, the player piano. I wonder if we're supposed to use those screws. It doesn't show them in the instructions. Like, I don't know. Am I supposed to take them from this bag and screw them in? Probably, right? Like, there's nothing else to do with those screws. And by the way, that gear, that player piano, looks like it's not going to reach outside. If you look at the instructions here, it's not reaching outside the castle. It's going right into the gear that we just built. So maybe there's going to be something from above that we twist, and then that's going to do it. I'm not really sure. So I'm going to start using this paraffin, as they called it, because it does feel a little more slippery than the wax that I previously had. So I'm going to use that. I don't see sandpaper unless it's inside of something. And these 4 screws are not shown in the instructions, but oh no, they are. I think they are shown. If you scroll down to the bottom here, they do show the screws coming up from the bottom with a screwdriver. It looks like 3 screws to get that piano on. So we're going to put that piano on. I mean, we're going to do it right now. I think, right? Is there any reason to not do it right now? I think we're supposed to do it. I think the instructions say to do it. Trying to get that last screw out. All right. There's 3 screws. Now, before we attach it, let's one more time take a close look at the instructions. All right. So we're going to take 3 of the prior pieces that we built. 2 of them are going to go with each other. 1 of them is going to go with the piano. Let's deal with that one. No. Let's deal with the other 2 first, because that'll be kind of easy. Oh, by the way, did I say there was no sandpaper? There is sandpaper. Right here is the sandpaper, so it's yellow sandpaper. I'm sorry that I've been giving like misinformation. This is the yellow sandpaper, oxide coated, 240. This is the sandpaper, this yellow piece of paper. And this is the paraffin, which is the wax. And what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna grab piece 174. By the way, I'm going to increment 3 more pieces for the screws. So we're going to take piece 174. We're going to make sure we've got the orientation correct, which is kind of this way. So there's connectors at the top and connectors at the bottom, and those kind of look the same. What makes it different is the circles are kind of on the right. The circles are on the right, and this little piece that comes out is on the left. All right, so these 3 holes, that's where the piano is going to go. But we're going to do that in a minute. What we're first going to do is this circle and these 2 on the side of it. And that's going to go these other 2 pieces that we built. These 2 pieces. Except that something doesn't seem right. Okay, there it is. Now it seems right. Okay, that's better. So we're still dealing with these 3 holes for the player piano, but now it's kind of at the north end. And the reason I didn't realize that, it is obvious. I mean, the tab should be at the north end, not the south. But what made me realize I was holding it the wrong way was these. they're supposed to point this direction, and when I was holding it the wrong way, they were pointing that direction. So anyway, can this piece go either way? I'm not sure it makes a difference. There's no caution sign, so I'm just going to drop it in. So the gear with the 2 circles, that goes there. And then on top of that goes this piece, and it goes like kind of down. So this like short side down. So the circle obviously goes in the middle, and then the 2 pins go into this 174 piece, which is kind of like the floor at this point. I don't know if it's the first floor, the second floor, the third floor, but for our purposes right now, it's the floor. That seems like a pretty good connection. That gear moves. That's good. I mean, it doesn't move like super smooth. I'm not sure how. I mean, I waxed the face buttons. It moves pretty good. I can imagine better, but, you know, it does move. I would like it to, like, keep spinning, like I spin it and it keeps spinning. But at least it spins, you know. It doesn't get caught, that's for sure. But the smoother you can make it, the better off you're going to be. So next goes this piano. I'm going to call it a piano. So there's 3 like screw holes, and they line up with these 3 holes. And then this single tab next to it, that's where this piece is going to go. Remember this Wu-Tang Clan piece? So the triangle piece, remember there was the triangle on it? Is that triangle going to go up or down? Let's zoom in and look. I can't see. It doesn't show. It's not clear. All right. The image is not sharp enough for me to know if that triangle is on the bottom or not. But the original build had the triangle on the bottom. So I think it's safe to assume that the triangle goes towards piece 174. All right, if we zoom in close, we see the top piece and we see the bottom piece, but we don't see a shape on the bottom piece. But the top piece is definitely a rectangle. And the rectangle goes above the triangle. So I think the triangle goes facing down. And then this arm goes kind of in this Wu-Tang logo. So that's how we're going to do it. Put that down, arm in the Wu-Tang logo. And then the screws are going to come up from the bottom. So let's just flip it over here and try to get one of these lined up. I'll put them in like a little bit at first, you know, like finger tight maybe. And then once we get all 3 in, then I'll tighten them. I'm trying to get some kind of catch with finger tight. I gotta get all 3 to catch, and then I'll tighten them. I think that's good. I think I caught something there. I tried to hold it away so I can see what's going on, and I dropped it. Not sure if that's on or not. Has anyone been watching the IAAF Worlds? It's basically World Championships of Track and Field. I've been watching it. Actually, I've not been watching it. I was watching the clips of it on YouTube. I don't know why, but I don't have the patience to watch like live TV. I know that's terrible, but To me, it's like when I'm at my computer, like getting work done, I can watch something and sort of only pay attention to the few seconds that I really care about on video, and then otherwise just like listen to it. And that's kind of the way I do things. So for me, I watch the clips on YouTube. I mean, they post the clips on YouTube. They come with ads. I mean, it's official from NBC Sports. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. And I'm glad that they post the clips to YouTube. Because, as I said, I'm not sure I would sit down and watch the entire broadcast. I would, like, if I blocked out the time for it. But that's never easy to do. All right, so now we have this player piano in there. I'm not sure which way it goes. Can it go either way? I was cranking it. How was I cranking it? I think I was cranking it counterclockwise. Let's see that. Let's see if we can do that. Nothing's happening. All right, maybe it was clockwise. Let's try clockwise. Nothing's happening. The only thing that's happening, frankly, is that this piece is breaking. I think there need to be more pieces on top to secure it, and that I should stop playing with it before it's fully built. I think when it's fully built, it'll work better, and we could test it then. I just think that this piece here, it's like flopping around because it only has one connector. We're going to get more connectors from the top, and then it's going to work better. All right. So we're up to this point in the instructions. Basically, QC your work. How does it look? Does yours look like theirs? What do you think? Does it look like? Does ours look like theirs? I think it does. So what's next? We have to get at least one page done. I know we're at 80 minutes, but we got to get at least one page done. So what is the next thing? Where does the arrow go next? I'll tell you what's stopping me. The next thing in sort of reading top to bottom, left to right, is showing those two gears going onto that piece that looks like an X-Wing fighter. But the problem is we haven't built the X-Wing yet. You build it down here in the corner. So they want us to go down in the corner and then follow the arrow up there, which is a very non-traditional way to work your way through a page, but we'll do it. So we need two 182s and a 187. That brings it up to 21 pieces. And brings us to the question, where are the 182s and the 187? Probably on the same board we've been working on. Or maybe they're on board 4? I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah, I see it. I see 177. I see 177 right there. And I see the gears there, but I don't yet see the 182s. Are they on the same? Oh, there they are. They're over. Okay. They're there, but they're at the other side of the board. So they're there. All right, I'm going to pop them out, these three pieces out, and then I'm going to put this board back where we found it. It's not an easy piece to pop out because it has these like skinny arms on it. Like you don't want to pop out the body first. You want to pop out the skinny arms, but not too far. If you pop out the body first, you run the risk of breaking the arms. But if you pop out the arms first, you also run that same risk if you push it too far. So far, nothing's happening. I'm pushing on these pieces and they're not coming out. All right, there's a little bit of action. Now I've got the two arms broken free. Now I can start working on the body. I just don't want the piece to break or even splinter. All right, I got that out. This gear is coming out. Like a lot of times the pieces that you're not going for, they come out no problem. And then the piece you're working on, which now I'm doing the two 182s, as you can see, I'm getting nowhere. I'm going to switch to the metal tool, which runs the risk of pushing too hard, but that wooden tool wasn't knocking the piece out at all. I might have broken the piece. Did it look like I broke one of those skinny arms? Let's take a look. It's not broken. I was scared for a second. Let's be a little more careful with these arms this time. Don't want to push it all the way out. Just kind of get it started. You need it to be started everywhere before you could push it out. All right. Once again, I made that way more dramatic than it really is because I was worried I was going to break pieces. And once again, we got some huge splinters. All right. All right, what do we need to do? Wow, they point different directions. Okay. So, these point different directions. You see that? They kind of create like a grid. It makes sense when you put them together. As separate pieces, they look different. They're going different directions, but when you put them together, now it makes like perfect sense. And that's the way they need to go through this like X-Wing fighter, whatever you want to call this piece. All right, so this front pin goes on the bottom. I'm not sure it really makes a big difference, but that's the way they do it. So that's the way we're going to do it. So we put that forward pin in the bottom and the backward pin on the top. I don't know if we'll be able to remember which is the top and bottom after we put it together. So it may not matter which one you put where, but anyway, that's it. I'm going to kind of keep it in this, orientation in the hopes that I can remember. All right, next we need two 172s and we need two 99s, a 172 and a 173, and we need everything waxed up. Wax it all up. 172, 173, and two 99s, which are like the locking pins. The 173 is going to go in the back here, the 172 in the front, and then the 99s on both sides. I think we saw those pieces here a minute ago, didn't we? What board were we on? Yep, there we go. 172, 173. I put that board back upside down, by the way. All right. That's the 172, I believe. And this is the 173, which goes on this side. And then two 99s. Are those 99s or 66s? Yeah, those are 99s. So these two pieces are 99s. Just gonna pop them out from the back. Seems to be the way to go. All right. Now this all needs to be, again, sanded and waxed. I know we're spending like half our time sanding and waxing. That's why this is a level 5 puzzle. It's not, no one said it's going to be easy. Maybe you can hire an intern to pop out your pieces and sand and wax them. But, you know, that's why they call it a hobby. If you just snapped your fingers and it was done, they'd call it magic. But this is a hobby. All right, let's use their paraffin. So we're using it for the first time. We're going to do the edges and the faces. You know what? Their paraffin is not leaving chunks all over my table. That's positive. That's how they were able to do it with just a tiny little circle rather than, you know, this huge like brick. And it feels better too. Alright, but we still gotta wax every single one of these. Maybe that's where we're gonna drop chunks. Waxing these. Try to remember, try to count the spokes. That'll help you to not start triple and double and triple waxing it. Although even if you did, it would just make it run smoother, so it's not really a bad thing. Alright, we're gonna wax the face as well. Not the slots, because then you'd lose the tension when you put it together. But the face, so it can turn. The gears so they can turn, and the face so it can turn. If you don't wax the gears, this gear is definitely chewing up this paraffin. So it worked pretty good on the circle, but the gear is tearing it up. It just doesn't fit in that gear. Maybe I should stop trying to get it in the gear and only wax the faces. No, you gotta wax between the gears. I mean, come on. You have to. All right. Now for the face. And the butt, I guess? No, both faces. They're both faces. There's no butt. That's ridiculous. Okay. Now I gotta put it together. Alright, so holding this. I kept the orientation. I know which is the top. Alright, 173 is gonna go on the back. I don't think there's any ink or any pinholes, so it probably can go either way. It's gonna be 5 connections. The plus in the middle, and then 4 pins from this X-Wing fighter, which is good. It's going to be nice and secure if we get them all in. They're going in pretty easy, actually. That went surprisingly well. And then we get a 99 on the back. Come on. I made 5 connections. I can't get the 99 on. Wow. Alright, good. It's nice and good. I pushed it onto the wood to get it on good. Alright, now for the front. 172. Same idea. Actually, no, you can't. I don't think you can mess up. At least, I'm not sure if you can. It looks good to me, but I'm wondering, like, if it's possible to mess this up. I'm not sure. Just make sure it looks good to you. Alright, so that's on. Looks like a little Hydrox cookie right now. Alright, now the other 99 locking nut. There we go. And why were we building this? There must have been a reason, right? Well, let's refer to our instructions here. All right. The next arrow goes down here, and it adds very similar pieces to what we were doing a minute ago. 156 and 157 are the pieces. Are they on this board that we've been working on? Yeah. Yeah, they're right there. 156 and 157. I'm going to punch them out from the underside. I find that works better. All right. Well, I thought it would work better. Doesn't seem like it's working that much better. Oh my goodness. Wow. All right, that was the 157. Let's put that at the bottom. Again, huge splinters. We'll put the 156 above that. You can see the splinters on the board there. Like it left huge splinters on the board. Like, am I doing this wrong? Like, what am I doing? I'm pressing on the piece. That's like exactly what I'm supposed to do. But I'm getting huge splinters all night. Alright, let's remove the splinters. Let's use their board. Is that a splinter? Or did I flake it? I think I flaked the piece. Well, I'm blaming the splinters. I'm blaming the board. I mean, it's both. It's like a splinter and a flake. I mean, it's supposed to come out. It's not supposed to flake or splinter. It's a good puzzle. Don't take it like I'm not downgrading it. But maybe it's me. Maybe I don't know how to get these pieces out. I also lost track of which one's which, but I think it's easy to tell because the way you orientate them, like one goes backwards, one goes forward. Wait, is it easy to tell? No, they look the same to me. Well, hopefully I kept them. You know what? I think the one that flaked was the first one. Yeah. So the one that flaked was 156. But even though I'm following the rules, like putting that on top, I'm not sure it would matter because this piece that I'm putting it in, it spins anyway. So if I did it wrong, I'm not sure it would matter. I guess the only thing that matters is that they line up to the same like distance. So when you put them together, they end up at the same, same distance. Like if one of them if you put them in the wrong order, then one would be like further, and one would be like too far out, and the other would be too far back. But they're both even with the end of the board, so that means we did it right. But we didn't count those two yet. So that's pieces 22 and 23. All right, the next place that the arrow brings us is to 175, which is going to go on the end of this thing that we just built, and it's going to get waxed. So 175, wax it. I see 172, 173, 174. Oh, there's 175. Okay. I'm going to try to push this one out from the front. I think that'll be better or worse. I don't know. All right, we'll wax it with the sandpaper. No, we'll sand it with the sandpaper they gave us. And then we'll wax it with the wax they gave us. I think that sandpaper worked pretty good. And this wax definitely works good on circles. So 360 on the edge. And then we're going to coat both faces in wax. Now, this 175, which is the 24th piece, it's going to go on this thing that we just built, I guess. Just on the end. Just kind of holds everything together. There it is. Right on the end there. Get it straight. Just holds it together. I think. I mean, we waxed it, so I guess it's going to turn too. Alright, the next is just a check. So, let's see if our piece looks like their piece. I mean, I think it does. Where's the magic arrow go next? Or are we done with this page? Okay. I believe we're done with this page. So tomorrow we'll do page 3. I'm not going to go like crazy on day 1, considering we're already at 101 minutes. LOL. 101. I don't know. Old school reference. I'm John Rapp. This is Just Rest Your Eyes. Good night and see you tomorrow.